Hello, I will be teaching a 30-minute Pilates movement class about getting your body out of the chair shape that we all get stuck in. So we are gonna start standing up. So you're gonna need a mat and we're gonna use a roller. If you don't have a roller, you could use like a bolster. If you have something like that, like a firm yoga bolster could work, but I can't recommend a roller highly enough. And then we're gonna use something on your foot like a yoga block would work, or a small paperback book. I'm gonna use this fancy Pilates head pillow. It doesn't need to be anything fancy. It just needs to be something small enough that you can balance it on your foot. You don't really want it heavy. You'll understand when we get to it. But if you don't have those things, you can just do the movements without the props. And as always, don't do anything that's painful. If something feels too much, you can always try making the movement smaller. And if that still hurts, then just stop and wait and try the next thing. You don't have to do every single thing. And if they're hurting you, please don't. We're gonna be working on the shoulders, opening the shoulders, and everyone's range of motion in their shoulders is different. So you wanna make sure you're not forcing your joint to go to a range of motion that it doesn't wanna do, because what my shoulder will look like moving through space, yours will maybe look different. So we are going to start just standing up. Make sure you've got room around you to not hit anything. Just find your weight over your 2 feet. Let yourself get your feet under your hip sockets, which are not as wide. Sometimes people are standing with their feet much wider than their own hips. And then we think, oh, my hip is out here, like the width that my pant size hip might be. But actually our sockets are closer in. If you put your fists kind of where your hip folds when you're bending your knees and your legs, that's the socket. So try to get your feet under the joints. So everything's stacked up and you're standing nice and tall. And then very simply, we're just gonna shift our weight to one foot and then to the other. And just notice if it's easier to shift to one side or the other. And the goal isn't to go as far as you can. The goal is to just feel what's it like to shift from side to side. And then find the middle again. And then we're gonna add a balancing piece. So you're gonna shift to your right leg, lift your left knee and your right arm. And then you go back and then the other side. And just switch from one side to the other. It's kind of like a stylized marching step. And if yours is smaller because your balance is not as good, that's fine. It can be even really small to where one foot doesn't even really lift up. If you have a lot of issues with your balance, you could modify this by having a chair in front of you or to the side of you to have something to hold on to. And the goal isn't how high can I lift the knee, but if you can get that knee to 90 degrees, it's a nice way to give your lower back a little small stretch. Just 2 more. You're testing your balance and your coordination. Opposite arm and leg lift, and you're trying to root down and balance through that foot you're standing on. Now let's go to one side and see, can you hold it there? Push your foot down through the floor and reach your armpit and your hand up to the ceiling. And then try the other side. It's probably easier on one side than the other. Remind yourself to look out and not down too much, because the minute I look down at my feet, I've lost my alignment through my head and my neck. Great. Okay, so that's a good way to just get your joints moving. Now we're gonna go with kind of a side to side. When we sit in a desk all day or in a chair or a sofa, we're kind of crouched, this position. So we're just gonna do some stuff getting us upright and then moving our joints in the different directions other than typing. So now I'm gonna have a chance to take my leg to the side and then to the other side. It's kind of like doing half of a jumping jack. And the goal again isn't how far can I go, it's just getting a little bit of movement in that plane. Maybe it's really tiny. And again, that balancing. If you need a chair or something in front of you to hold on, that's fine. Now you're gonna add opposite arm and leg. And I'm trying to find a diagonal feeling through my right arm and my left leg. And then my left arm and my right leg. Just feeling the connections between the two sides of my body. Moving the hips and the arms in side to side. It might be really small. And that's totally fine. If it's tiny, if it feels wobbly and challenging, that's super normal. Remember to breathe. And just one more each side. And then relax. Great. Now I'm going to turn to the side so you can see what I'm doing. You can watch for a minute and then just kind of follow my voice and follow along. Don't be lifting your head to look at the screen once you've started, because we want to be giving our spine a chance to round over. So standing tall, feeling that your knees are straight but not locked. So have a sense that your kneecaps float on the surface of your knee joint. Your feet are just rooting down. Your chest, your shoulders, your head are all just floating on top of your spine. And let your head begin to fall forward. And then your neck will follow. And then your shoulders will follow. We're only going to go very small. Just our upper back. I'm not trying to touch the ground. I want to just feel my shoulders and my arms hanging. My upper back getting a chance to curve. And my neck getting a chance to hang off my spine. Now if it feels good, I'm going to keep rolling forward. Bend your knees as you begin to curve forward more. Your butt has to go back behind your feet a little bit so your head can hang forward and you're not going to be tipping your weight forward. Bend your knees as much as you need to. And again, I'm not trying to touch the ground. I'm just trying to curve my back. I want to kind of keep my butt lifted up so my spine can hang down. And I'm really dropping my head. I shouldn't be able to see the floor in front of my feet. I should really probably be looking at my thighs or maybe my knees. And if you wind up touching the ground, that's fine. You can just keep relaxing. Keeping those knees bent will keep your back stretching, but your legs not stretching. If you were to hold your legs very straight, you'd probably be stretching the back of your thighs. And we really just want to get your spine a chance to hang without your legs getting involved. So keeping those knees bent. You're going to roll your way back up. Imagine that tail curling down to point itself back towards the floor, and you just stack your spine up, head will come up last. Keep your head hanging down until you've lifted your chest and your shoulders. And then just balance your head back on top of your spine again. And just for one more moment, stand tall. Feel like your eyes look out ahead to help keep your head back over your spine. Great. Now we are going to take our roller and we're going to give our hips a stretch. In that chair, we've got our hip folded up all day. So we're going to give our hip a chance to extend. So the roller goes under your sacrum. And that's not your spine, your vertebrae end, and then your pelvis starts, and at the bottom of your pelvis is your tailbone. In the middle of that is your sacrum. It's kind of a flat triangular shape. You want that on the roller. Now, once you're propped up there, you want to find those abdominal muscles holding you more
in a tucked feeling. Don't let your back arch up towards the ceiling. You want to try to be sending your back down into the floor, even though you'll never get there because the roller's propping flat. Now I will start with my right knee, bending it in. Doesn't matter which leg you start with. Keeping the sense of my pelvis tucking a little bit towards my chest into that coccyx curl shape. I'm going to let my left leg slide out and stretch out, but I'm not trying to make it straight. I'm trying to let it relax into gravity. And then I'm going to breathe a few breaths. You can hold the knee with your hands, or you can just let your arms relax, but don't let your belly relax and your back start arching away from the floor. Feel like your abdominals are sinking enough to stabilize your pelvis and your spine. And then your leg is the only thing opening up and stretching, not your back. And breathing. You might find that as you relax, your leg may start turning out a little bit, and that's fine. Don't try to hold it in a special place. Try to let it relax as much as it can. And again, your belly keeps stabilizing your pelvis and your spine, and your leg gets a chance to stretch. And let's have one more breath. If it feels good, you can really slide that heel away from you a bit, but don't put so much effort in your leg that you can't keep that spine nice and stable. I don't want to reach my leg to where it causes me to arch my back. Now I'm going to change legs by pulling my foot towards me, folding my knee up to my chest, and then I put the other foot down, and I slide that foot out, and then I'm going to breathe on this side. As I breathe out, I can pull those abdominals into the spine, feeling a slight sense of coccyx curl, that pelvic tilt, trying to send my lower back towards the floor, zipping my pubic bone into my navel, keeping my ribs down. Relaxing that thigh, trying to feel that it's just hanging into gravity, resting, letting it release. Maybe it rotates a little as it relaxes. If I want a little more stretch, I can reach the heel gently away from the roller, but I keep getting that sense that my pelvis is stable and my back doesn't follow my leg. It stays down. And then drag that foot, bring that knee up, and just let your knees really rock into your chest. That roller is still under your hips, giving your lower back a little bit of a traction. Now just roll that roller out, nice and smooth, roll your spine down, and then put the roller under your knees, and just rest a moment, letting your back kind of settle back into the mat. Great. Now I'm going to just use my feet to push that roller out of my way, and then I'm going to bend my knees and put my feet on the mat. And I recommend for this, putting your hands on your stomach or your ribs or even your chest. Have them resting on you, because it's going to make it easier to keep your shoulders relaxed as we do this movement for our neck. So as I sit in a chair and work on a computer, or I sit on a sofa with my laptop on my lap and lean forward, there's a lot of hunching over. We get really weak in our neck and we feel tight, but what we need to do is build strength and create stretch. We can't fix our neck problems with stretching or massage alone. We have to build strength. So this is the exercise that will build that neck strength. It's very small. You don't want to overdo it because those are deep, small muscles. So we're going to take that sense of resting, relaxed. That's our neutral starting place. Wherever you are is a relaxed, resting place. Then let your chin tuck down, pulling your chin to your chest, without lifting your head, without tensing your shoulders, without changing anything but your neck. And then relax. Just go back to resting neutral. And let's try it 3 more times. Exhale, pull the chin downwards towards the chest. You'll feel the front of your neck engaging, and maybe you'll feel the back of your neck stretching. And then you release. You want to allow your collarbones and your shoulder blades and your shoulder joints to be easy as you're moving your head and your neck. Your shoulders might want to brace. Try to encourage them to stay relaxed. Last one. Chin tucks and then releases. Great. So that's a micro movement. It's small. You probably only want to do like 5 of them, 3 to 5. Don't overdo it. Now we're going to add a little extra challenge if your neck feels up to it. I'm going to tuck that chin down just the same, but keep going. Curling my chin to my chest so much that my head begins to curl up, and then I put it right back down. It's like a sit-up for my neck. It's going to be small and short. I'm pulling my chin down into my chest. Trying to make the back of my neck grow so long that my head curls up. Not trying to go as far as humanly possible, but trying to tuck that chin down as much as I can. And then I'm going to relax. So those are strengthening the front and the side of the neck that give our neck support to stay balanced on our head. Now I'm going to stretch it because I do need strength, but I also need to stretch. I'm going to use my hands now to curl me into the same shape, but because my neck is passive and my hands are doing the work, I will be stretching the back of my neck. And I'm not working the front of my neck now, I'm working my arms. They're doing the work. Gently curl my chin to my chest, and then I roll back down. And just one more time. I'm not trying to sit up, I'm just curling my skull off the top of my spine and stretching my neck. Very, very gently. I don't want to yank and pull hard. I don't want to really get my shoulders up. I want to keep my shoulders down. I'm just trying to stretch that back of my neck. Now I'm going to reach my arms up, and I'm going to lift one shoulder off the ground and reach the hand higher to the ceiling, and then plop it back down. Reach the fingers up, the shoulder lifts up, and then I drop. I'm just going to alternate. I like to inhale and reach, and exhale and drop. But you can breathe however you want, as long as you're breathing. And I'm reaching through my shoulder blade and my shoulder socket. I'm not reaching so hard and so far that my neck has to change or rock my body side to side. Just the arm and the shoulder, reaching and dropping, reaching and dropping. Then I'm going to reach back over my head, extending my waist and my armpits, and then reach back up to the ceiling. As I reach back over my head, I only go as far as I can keep my ribs down, and then I reach back up to the ceiling. 2 more. Reaching back over my head and reaching forward out to the ceiling. My ribs stay down because I don't reach too far, and I keep a little sense of that abdominal support. And just keeping me stable. I'm not cranking down, but I'm also not letting them pop up. Just moving my arm in my arm joint. Now I'm going to go out to the sides. I'm not trying to hit the ground. I'm just opening out, trying to keep my upper back flat on the ground. It's going to change because my shoulder blades are moving on my back. But I don't want to let my chest pop up. Just trying to, again, move my arm in my socket. Just one more, opening and bringing it back. Now I'm going to keep my fingers pointing up, but I'm going to bend my elbows until they're on the ground. Flip my palms to face down towards my feet. Keeping my wrist flat, I'm going to let the arm rotate in my shoulder socket, and then I'm going to take it the other way. I'm just reaching back and forward. rotating my arm and my shoulder joint. The back of my hand goes towards the floor, and then my palm goes towards the floor. My elbows want to stay on the ground heavy. And I'm moving from my upper arm, where it goes in my shoulder joint, under my armpit, much more than I'm moving my hands or my wrists. I'm not trying to touch the ground. I'm rolling that shoulder at the joint, turning it out, turning it in. And then I'm going to stop pointing them both up to the ceiling, and I'm going to alternate. One hand goes forward, one hand goes backward. Turning those arms in the shoulder sockets. Rotating my shoulders out of that fixed place they tend to get when I have my arms glued down to my sides or shoved onto my desk. Now I'm going to open both arms out and let them just stretch out to the sides. Maybe I feel a chest stretch, maybe not. Doesn't matter. Either way, I'm just opening, stretching a little bit, and now I'm going to roll to my side, come up to sitting, and I'm going to get my roller one more time. I'm going to put it lengthwise. Then I'm going to sit on it, and let me move this away. I'm going to have my spine all the way on the roller. Tailbone at one end, head at the other. Make sure you've got yourself well supported. Now, I want to just find my balance. My feet are flat on the floor. And then I'm going to flip my palms to face up to the ceiling. And I'm going to give my arms a chance to open out to the sides and start to reach up over my head. Maybe they can reach all the way up over, and then they're going to sweep back down. It's like making an angel in the snow. You want to keep the arm as relaxed as you can and let it hang as heavy towards the floor as you can. Your arms may or may not be on the ground. Don't hold them up with tension. If they can't touch the ground, but they're relaxing as far as they can and they feel like they can move freely, they can hover off the ground. That's fine. But don't hold them. Let them drop so you get as much of a passive motion through your arm as you can. Let's do two more. When my arms reach over my head, my shoulder blades have to lift up my back. There's no reason to try to hold your shoulder down because we're trying to make our shoulder move. Let your shoulders follow your hands. They'll reach up your back, allowing movement in your shoulder joint. Reaching up, sweeping those shoulder blades on your back like you're sweeping your hands on the floor or through space. Now, just let them open, not too wide. Turn your palms back down to the floor and give yourself a rock side to side. Massaging the muscles that run up and down your back. When we sit up or we stand up, those muscles are getting a big workout all day. They can only relax when we lie down. And this little action massages them. Now they're deep, small muscles, so they're not going to feel like a lot of massage action. You don't really feel like very much is happening when you do this usually. But when you get yourself back off the roller, you will feel the result of rolling across and massaging them a little bit. So go ahead, find the middle. Just take a moment to relax everything. And then let your body roll off the roller. And then find yourself laying back on the floor on the mat again. And feel your spine. And this is where you'll feel the results of that massage. You'll feel like your spine is really melting back into the floor. All right, so now we are going to use the yoga block that you've got or the paperback book, or even you could use really anything that can fit on your foot. So what we're going to be doing is just extending our hip and working the back of the joint. When I'm seated in a chair, my hip is folded forward. The opposing action of that will be to extend. And we did a passive extension with our hips on top of the roller. Now we're going to do an active extension. So you're going to lay on your stomach. You're going to put your yoga block or your book or whatever you got on your foot. And you want to keep it there really for accountability. Oh, my dear. See, it is hard. So I've got that on there and I want to try and keep it on there. And it's going to help me maintain the 90-degree angle of my knee. If I start to bend my knee too much or straighten my knee too much, that thing's going to fall off. It's also going to help me go in the right direction. All I want to do is take a very small action of moving my foot up, trying to lift my knee up. It's going to be small. And you're going to feel it in the back of your leg. We want to try and get the action in the back of the hip joint, which is where your butt and your thigh meet. The gluteal fold, where your butt folds into your leg. I put my hands under my face and make a pillow for my forehead. Breathe out, lift that knee, reach that foot up, and then breathe in, bring it down. We're only going to probably do between 5 and 10. It's a lot. Make it small. Keep your belly holding your pelvis steady on the floor. You don't want to be using your lower back. If you're feeling your lower back, make it smaller. And it might even just be enough work just to hold that object there and trying to keep your pubic bone on the ground and lifting your belly into your spine a little bit will give you that support for your lower back. Now go ahead, try the other side. It'll be interesting to see, is one side easier than the other? 90 degree, reaching up and down. And the two sides might be very different, so don't try to make them match in how big you can move. Just a little, trying to press that foot up to the ceiling and lift that knee out of the floor without changing your pelvis or your spine. You can do this with nothing on your foot, but then it's very easy to lose the shape of your leg and start doing all manner of different things. Putting this thing on our foot just keeps us in the right shape and helps us avoid our body's many ways of trying to cheat. One last time, pressing gently, gently, and then bring it down. Great. Now you know why you want something light enough that if it falls on you, it's not going to hurt. So now we're going to do one last thing, extending our back. Because of all the curling forward we do, we need to remember how to take our spine the other way. So we're going to have the hands next to the shoulders, but I want to start with my elbows on the ground. So my arms are more behind me than in front of me. My forehead's down as I begin. I'm going to press my pubic bone into the ground, lift my belly up to stabilize and support my low back. I'm going to start to look forward with my eyes, but then I want to keep looking forward, but really not forward to the wall in front of me and crunch the back of my neck. Looking towards the end of my mat, trying to reach the crown of my head forward. Top of my head is reaching forward. Not my chin. If I lead with my chin, I close my neck. I want to reach the top of my head and try to arch my upper back out of the ground. And then I roll back down. So curling forward is our common shape that we're used to doing. This is arching. To oppose that, try to move your upper back, bending those vertebrae in the opposite direction that a chair slumps us forward into. Might be challenging and awkward, and it might be very small. Let's do 2 more. I let my eyes lead me forward, but then I try to lift my chest out of the floor. more than I lift my chin towards the wall in front of me. Last time, I'm using my hands a little bit, but I want to let my hands help me use my upper back. Pulling my belly in and pressing my pubic bone to the floor will help me not use my lower back too much. Great. Now I'm going to take myself up, slide my elbows forward, and just prop myself up into a bit of a supported arch. I still want to have that sense that my belly is helping me hold my lower back long. Now, if this feels good and you want more, you can do more of a real yoga cobra where you've got your hands closer to under your shoulders and pressing yourself up higher. But if this doesn't feel good to your back, keep it as small as it feels good. We're just trying to arch that upper back, open our chest, lengthen our belly, and then go ahead and put yourself in your child's pose. Rounding over, relaxing everything through the spine. If child's pose doesn't work for you, flip onto your back and hug your knees into your chest instead. Because you want to give yourself a chance to round your spine, and it shouldn't be uncomfortable, it should be relaxing. Great. All right. So that's just a great series of things you can do to keep yourself from collapsing into the shape that a chair pushes us into. So I will be doing another one of these. If anyone has requests of what you'd like to work on, feel free to reach out and let us know, and I'm happy to do a class focused on whatever you guys would like. All right, I hope you enjoy. See you next time.